the 21st Sunday of Ordinary Time. The Gospel today, Matthew's presentation of Jesus, is a turning point. There's been a lot of relationship between Jesus and the apostles. And so as they're walking along, Jesus asks them not for information, but for an awareness in the apostles of who Jesus is and who they are. So Jesus asks them, who are the people saying I am? And they say, well, some say this prophet, that prophet. And Jesus says, and you? Who do you say I am? And because of Peter's affirmation that you are the Christ, that's a definitive turning of the gospel. They now know and claim their relationship with the anointed, the longed for, the Messiah, the Christ. And the reading of the gospel within that Jewish context that we've been talking about, he's saying to those who are listening to this proclamation and perhaps reading this gospel, after seeing all that Jesus has done and said, can you say he is the Christ? Which is a big conversion of mind and spirit by the Jewish readers of Israel. Yes, we are saying the prophets came and they were holy people, but you are the longed for. You are the priest, prophet, and king. And Jesus gives them the power of the keys. Now this can be used incorrectly as the church has the authority, the power to say who's in and who's out, who doesn't belong. So and the history of the church was, the term was anathema, the separated ones. If they teach that, they're heretics, let's burn them. The church has had a terrible history of using the keys as power to exclude and decide what is sinful and what is not sinful. Long history of the power of judgment. And the church, under the recent popes, and especially Pope Francis, is saying the power is the power of compassion and openness, receptivity, and forgiveness. Not the power of exclusion, but the power of compassionate inclusion. And the challenge, of course, is that Jesus is the key. And Jesus, I am sharing my keyship with you to have the power to overcome your judgmentality, your severity, your unmerciful exclusion, you as individual people, not just the corporate church, but you have the power to include, as we saw in last week's gospel about foreigners and refugees and the easily excluded. Now you have the power. I'm giving you the power of being merciful with others and mercy with yourself. To be included, even though you are more aware than the church could ever be aware, you are aware of how you deserve to be excluded. Or you also have the power to judge others as they deserve exclusion. But to have the power, the key of Jesus is to have the power to accept acceptance, to receive being received. That's a tremendous power. And to, in a way, discern what keeps me from being a follower of Jesus. What ties me up? What locks me up? Because I also have a key. And I can lock myself from the inside. And say, I don't, by my judgment of myself, I lock myself up in my own harsh criticism of myself, which is also usually inflicted on others. Judgmentalness on others is a usual reflection of my own judgmentalness, negativity. So that the power that Jesus gives is gentleness and openness. I don't feel close to you because I keep a distance. I don't like you because I don't know you. And Jesus gives us the power to go beyond judgment, to say, right now I don't know you, so I don't like you so much. I am receiving in faith that I belong to the church by His unlocking me from my past, from my judgmentalness, from my severity about my humanity. He gives me the key that He gives to the church, that Christ shares with each of us to unlock ourselves from any exclusion because of what I know about myself. Anything you know about yourself, anything I know about myself has to be within the context of the creative and redemptive love of Jesus. What does Jesus say about me before I say about me? And He unlocks me and says, can you unlock yourself, please? Come out and play, come out and pray, come out and stay a companion of me, a doer of me, an unlocker with me. And that's a very good definition of church. Can I belong to that church? Can I celebrate the Eucharist as an unlocking, saying, receive my body and make it your own. Receive the freedom I have, I give it to you to freely walk out of any past confinements. I give you the power of the keys, the key of Christ, the key of grace, the key of the creative love of God. Can you receive the freedom that that key opens us to and to live? This is a wonderful gospel. Who do I say Jesus is depends on who I let Jesus say I am. What does He say in the Eucharist? What does He say in the gospel? Is that inclusive or exclusive? Whose key do you use first? His or yours?